Welcome back to Seaway Secrets. Today we're on board the Canadian Empress, a cruise ship that's regularly sailed the St. Lawrence River for a number of decades now. On this spectacular day, we're with Trevor Houle, the purser and cruise director of this ship. And Trevor is going to tell us a little bit about the history of the Canadian Empress and what she actually represents. Trevor, what can you tell us?
Well, this is our 41st season. Our 40th anniversary was last year. And the ship was built back in 1980 in Gananoque, Ontario. And I actually worked as a purser and cruise director on board in 1982 and 1983.
So you've got a long history with this ship.
Well, I haven't worked the whole length of time, but I did for 2 years there, and I've come back since 2016. So the ship is a nice, comfortable ship for about anywhere 50 to 60 passengers and 14 crew. We have different cruises, 4 nights, 5 nights, 6 nights, or 7 nights. And we have 2 sets of crew. They work on one cruise, then they have one cruise off. So it's a great job in the season because you work hard for a week and then you play hard for a week. So the ship is 108 feet long and 30 feet wide, and the draft, which is the water under the hull, is only 5 foot 2 inches, which means we can get close. When you have a good captain like we have on board, you can get close to those islands in the Thousand Islands. We also go to Quebec City, and we also go to Ottawa. We traverse Kingston to Ottawa. It's a 5-night cruise, and we use the Ottawa River. And then a 6-night cruise would be Kingston to Quebec City.
So Trevor, this ship has a very specific look and feel about her, both inside and out. Can you tell us a little bit about why that is?
Yes, the ship was built originally to portray a steamship around 1908, 1906. And the inside originally sort of looked that way too, but it's been renovated in the past 3 years to really update it. It's white, it's open, it's bright, it's beautiful. Beds are comfortable. Now the rooms are small, but they get bigger every day as you cruise because you get used to them. And besides, with beautiful weather like this, you want to be on the top deck.
Absolutely.
We can play shuffleboard up here. We can fly kites off the stern. Yes, Victor.
So when you actually say go fly a kite, you mean it.
When I tell you to go fly a kite, I mean it. Go fly a kite.
It's hard to imagine when you think of a ship of this size and carrying the number of people it does, that back 100 years ago, there were actual passenger ships running this river, but also running the rapids. So something like this would have gone through the Lachine Rapids. What an adventure that would have been. Now, thankfully, we don't do that today because I think safety laws would get blown out of the water, literally.
Agreed,
But,
yes.
What a fascinating idea that we could do that.
I think the Rapid Prince was the name of one of the vessels that ran the rapids. There was many of them that did it, and I believe there's many of them under the water here too.
I would suspect
that
so.
couldn't do it.
So now, Canadian Empress is owned by St. Lawrence Cruise Lines, and they are based, I believe, in Kingston, Ontario.
Kingston, Ontario,
And
yes.
always have been, right?
Yes.
So it's always been an all-Canadian company.
Yes.
And what about your passengers? Are you getting people mostly from Canada or from elsewhere?
Well, because of COVID, mostly Canadian. But say pre-COVID, we would have had, I would say 5% of the passengers from around the world, from Australia to Britain to Netherlands, Germany, Sweden. And then the rest of the ship would have been 50-50 Canadians and Americans. So on the cruise we are on right now, we've got Canadians from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario. We have someone from Great Britain. We have some, 3 couples from the United States. So it's a nice mishmash. Everyone gets together. We have tables of 6 for meals, and you don't have to sit at the same place. You can meet everyone on board, and by the end of the cruise, everyone will be one big family.
Well, I'm very pleased to say I've had the pleasure of cruising with you people, the Canadian Empress, on the Canadian Empress before.
And with me, I have
and
stories.
With you. Yes, I'm sure you do. And it is a genuine pleasure to be on board because it is a definition of leisure travel. And one of the things that makes you different from all the other cruise lines, even the new ones on the Great Lakes, is that you don't travel at night.
Yes, that is correct, Victor. We only cruise at night if we ever have to, but there's so many beautiful areas along the river. We don't want anyone to miss any of those areas, so we don't cruise at night. And every night we have live entertainment come on from that area, so every night is different entertainment.
Well, I know just from being on board for the couple of hours we have been so far, just how pleasant and amiable the crew is, and the passengers too. Everyone's just sitting and talking to each other. It couldn't be nicer. So thank you so much for letting us on board today and sharing this experience with you.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's good to see you again.
You too.
Yeah.
The moment we're approaching the Beauharnois Dam, which is located about 25 miles west of Montreal on the St. Lawrence River. Now, this dam is one of the true Seaway secrets, since it actually precedes the entire Seaway project. The Quebec government decided to build the dam, or I should say Hydro-Quebec decided to build the dam in 1929 to harness the mighty power of the rapids that the dam is beside. The stretch of river we're about to enter was one of the most treacherous parts of the St. Lawrence. Aside from the Lachine Rapids at Montreal and the Long Sault Rapids near Cornwall, this stretch was actually a series of 4 rapids: the Coteau, the Cedars, the Split Rock, and the Cascade Rapids. And between them all, it constituted a drop of 80-odd feet. So the dam was designed to harness all that energy of all that water. So when Hydro-Quebec built this dam in 1929, it was actually much smaller than the one you see now. It was actually built in 3 stages. The initial dam opened on October 1st, 1932. The middle part opened in the 1940s, and the latter part opened in 1961, about just after the St. Lawrence Seaway itself was completed. So over the years, it's actually stretched to a length of over 3,000 feet, approximately a kilometer. This dam has a huge generating capacity, and when it opened, it was the largest dam in the world in terms of hydro production. It produces 1,900 megawatts of power, which is double what Saunders Powerhouse at Cornwall produces. When initial construction on the dam was begun, the designers had a lot of foresight. They knew that behind the dam there'd be a huge stretch of water that built up behind it, which is now known as the Beauharnois Power Canal. These engineers decided that this canal should be at least 600 feet wide, a minimum depth of 30 feet. And the reason for this is that they foresaw the construction of the St. Lawrence Seaway. So in effect, this was the first part of the St. Lawrence Seaway to be constructed. Right now, we're approaching the lower Beauharnois Lock. This is one of 2 locks that were built to bypass the Beauharnois Power Dam and were part of the St. Lawrence Seaway project, which opened in 1959. Between the 2 locks, they raised ships 82 feet. The locks themselves, to the surprise of the engineers, turned out to be the toughest part of the entire Seaway project. The land that the locks were built on is composed of glacial till, and that glacial till is very, very hard and composed mostly of what's known as Potsdam sandstone. And although the name sandstone suggests something that's light and fluffy, it's incredibly hard. The bulldozers and the diggers that they used for construction, many of the shovels have teeth on them. The teeth on the shovels are designed to last approximately a week, if not longer. Those teeth on those shovels were replaced every 24 hours. Construction on these 2 locks ended up being incredibly slow, and they took 2 years to build. In areas of lock excavation, they actually gave up, and they designed a series of mechanical flamethrowers. And what they would do is force a flame of very high heat, 4,000 degree heat, through this pipe and into the rock, essentially using a jet stream of hot air. They would fire into the rock to bore a hole. And even then, it would take a 12-hour shift to dig a hole of 100 feet long. And those were merely holes for putting in the dynamite to blast the rock away.